Yo, Hegassen here, and today we are finally getting into Wakanda with the Black Panther. Did it live up to the hype? Let's get into it. So Black Panther, for a film that's had a lot of hype and a lot of build up in the MCU, man, there's still so much to talk about. So we're going to get straight into this, and we're going to be talking about the characters. Obviously we're going to start off with the lead of the film, the Black Panther himself, T'Challa. Thankfully in this film we've already got to know him a little bit, so we got to see him in Civil War, and he's still just as good and likeable as he was in that film. In this film it takes place just as he's about to be king, and in this film his arc is him seeing what kind of king he will become and where he's going to take Wakanda in the future. What I like about this film is he's got a lot of different voices around him, and he's very conflicted about how he wants to be a king and how he wants to take Wakanda, and all these different voices are giving him different viewpoints and opinions, and he seems like a very much neutral character. It's good to see him here more as the Black Panther. The opening scene of seeing him attack that convoy was really cool. Sadly though, in this film, even though it's called Black Panther, I think the fact that we've already seen him and we already got to know him a little bit means that in his own film he's not the standout character. So who are the standout characters? Well, let's get into them and start off by talking about the three powerful, beautiful women that he surrounds himself with, and these three are definitely really good standout characters. And let's start with Nakia. Nakia, his ex-girlfriend. She's like a spy. She goes out there in the world for Wakanda, and she's a very strong, very moral compass character, and she knows the world, and she is very much that viewpoint for T'Challa of, we need to go out there, we need to help the world, there's so much more that we can do, there are people struggling. So she's that kind of compass that leads him into that direction. You know, she's very much that viewpoint, and she's a really good character, very fun. I really like seeing her go out and really know the world, and she's really good in the casino scene that we'll get on later on, that green dress. On the other hand, we have Okoye, again another strong badass woman. She's got a great little sense of humour as well. So much fun, this character. And she is one of the Dora Milaje, so she is definitely badass. But for her, she's all about protecting Wakanda and guarding the throne. So she is that voice on the other side that is very much of, look, Wakanda needs to protect itself. We need to think about ourselves first. And she has a really good, nice conflict going throughout this film. Her lover joins sides with the villain. She's conflicted because she's friends with T'Challa, and you know, T'Challa gets dethroned in this film, so she doesn't really know what to do. So she has a really good arc, and like I say, she's badass. She has some really badass scenes. She uses this spear, and there's some epic moments involving that, especially in the car chase scene where she spears the car, calling guns primitive. Really digging her character. And then we have Shiru. She's again really fun. Probably not my favourite of the three main women of this movie. I do find her a little bit of kind of a spoilt brat, smug character. But no, she's really cool. She's really smart. I do like it when she finally gets out with her Black Panther gauntlet things. They're really fun. And she does have some really good scenes. I really like her relationship with her brother. But I do always question, why is she as smart as she is? There's never really an explanation. She's just like 16 years old and she's like super genius, super smart, and it seems like she's built all of the technology in Wakanda. So what on earth existed before her? But I'd like to know why she is as smart as she is. We don't even see like she has any sensei or teacher or anything. It's just, yep, she's automatically the smartest person there is. Okay, fair enough. I do like her little Q moment where she's explaining all of the gadgets, so that is a really good scene. So, they're the powerful women. What about the guys? Well, we've got a great character introduced in this film, M'Baku of the Jimbari. He's so much fun. This film isn't really like a laugh out loud film, especially compared to the last three films that we got, but he definitely has some of the best lines in this film. I really like his relationship with Everett Ross, who we'll touch on in a moment. And I really like his little story in the film as well. He starts off very much as a protagonist, and then later on you see that, you know, he's actually a man of honour. He develops a little bit of respect for T'Challa, and when it comes down to it, he will do the right thing. He can definitely be a more interesting character going forward, because he's definitely not full-blown hero, very much kind of an anti-hero style character. I'm pretty sure he will still do what's best for the Jabari when push comes to shove. So very good character, and I really like his stuff. Like I say, we got Everett Ross in this. When this film first came out and we heard that Everett Ross was going to be in it, I was like, oh, okay, he'll just be in a few scenes. No, he's the main character and he gets to do a lot in this film, and that's great. We barely saw him in Civil War. I think he was only in like maybe 2 scenes, so it's great to see him more here. He has a really good scene at the end where we get to see that, yeah, he's a really good pilot. You know, he's not just like the agent sitting behind the desk and stuff. He's actually really good when he gets out there in the world and stuff and can do all the action, so that's good. And he's very much the character that is like the fresh eyes on Wakanda. He's the outsider going in, and through him we get to kind of see all of like the questions about Wakanda and stuff, and like see it all from like a newbie perspective, so to speak. I don't really think there's any bad characters in this film. However, speaking of bad characters as in bad guys, let's get into them. So let's talk about Klaw. Returning from Age of Ultron. Few returning characters in this film, but that's all good because it means that we don't always have to deal with their setup. But yeah, Klaw's back, and man, he is amazing. Probably my favourite character in this film. I just love how he's, you know, he loves every moment of being a villain. He's a villain, he's enjoying it.
I can see you. Okay, I can see you.
He gets away with stuff. He seems much dumber than he actually is. You know, when he's in the crime scene though, he shoots that guy and Killmonger's like, why'd you do that? He's like, just spreading out the crime scene, you know, it looks a bit sloppy. And I really like that. I really like how just crazy he is. His dialogue is excellent. You know, he's probably up there with M'Baka as the 2 funniest characters in the film. And I really like his hand cannon, but I really don't like the fact that he dies in this film. But I'll touch on that in a little bit, because the person who killed him is Killmonger. It is in the name, I guess. And man, Killmonger, what a good villain that is. Very well written villain, very well played villain, and a villain that at times you're actually kind of rooting for. And that for me makes a really good villain. I really like his plot, and I really like the fact that the message that he's trying to get across, you know, the thing that's driving him, it's not actually a bad thing. You can understand his point of view. Unfortunately, his execution is what pushes him into the bad guy territory, and does mean that, yeah, he deserves to be taken down at the end of this film. But it's a very intriguing character, and I do really like him. Again, though, they kill him off. Marvel, what are you doing? Come on, stop killing off your villains. Marvel's biggest problem has always been its villains. They finally get 2 amazing villains in this film, and they kill them off. If I'm ever going to criticise the MCU for anything, it's for their lack of keeping villains and having good villains. The only kind of villain that we've ever had that's been reoccurring throughout lots of films is Loki. And even now, he's kind of still a good guy most of the time. But yeah, why do they always kill off these villains? Killmonger kills Klaw, and then at the end, Black Panther kills Killmonger. Like, you can kind of be like, okay, his character's come full circle, he had a nice little conclusion, but it would have been so good to keep him around, to him to come back later on. You know, good villains are always ones that can come back and be reoccurring and stuff. Not every film needs to be a one-hit wonder villain. And, you know, we have all this great big cast of good superheroes, you know, and we get to see films like Thor Ragnarok where they team up. You know, you get Hulk and Thor, and then you get a little bit with Doctor Strange in there. Why don't we ever get that with the villains? You know, why can't we ever get a film where Killmonger is teaming up with, I don't know, Red Skull, or Klaw is teaming up with Obadiah Stane, the Abomination or something? Instead, it's always one film, one bad guy. And that is why I kind of like the fact in Doctor Strange we actually got the villain set up in that film and didn't become a villain, so we get that for future ones. Here, we get Klaw, we get Killmonger, they're great, they get killed off. And that really, really upsets me with this film. I'll touch upon this though a little bit more later on when I get more into my review. So instead, let's take it back and let's talk about the action. The action in this film is really good. I already touched upon that opening scene, that was really fun. The highlight scene for me, the best action scene, is that casino scene that I touched on earlier on. Straight after that, you get this excellent car chase scene where you get to see Okoye do that thing with the spear. That was great, and all throughout that you get Klaw being Klaw and just having a great time with it. You get to see a lot of Black Panther in this scene again and demonstrating his new suit and stuff. That's really fun. The final battle that we get is not as hype as the stuff we get at the beginning of the film. In fact, it's probably actually really for me a little bit of a letdown. It kind of just takes place on this bland hill that for me kind of looks like a Halo 4 map for some reason. I think it's the fact that it's just like a hill with like a big structure that looks like a Forerunner structure. I expect to see like a monitor flying around in the background. There is some good stuff in there. You get Okoye versus Killmonger, that's good. And like I say, you got to see Shuru come out with a Black Panther gauntlet. And then Barco turns up, and that's definitely a highlight. But yeah, there's some stuff in there that's not as good. You know, you get the rhinos get summoned. While I very much enjoy seeing war rhinos, they do look a little bit like CGI, and they just seem to come out of nowhere. Like, it literally blows a horn and they almost appear to like come out of the ground. Like, where were they? Were they just at the bottom of the hill? Why weren't they there from the start? It just seems a little bit weird. Did they run all the way from the border and get here really quickly? It's not really explained. They just bust out of the ground and they're there. And at some point, Killmonger's suit does look a little bit CGI as well. I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was like the lighting and stuff there. But it just does look really CGI. And speaking of CGI, when we get to the final battle of Black Panther versus Killmonger, that is just CGI everywhere. They're fighting in this cave. It's dark. It's hard to see what's going on. There's this train going past all the time. So when they're speaking and fighting, you constantly got this train like in front of the screen like that. And it just makes it really hard to see. It's not the best final fight. So that is a little bit of a letdown. But we do get the cool little airplane scene with Everett Ross. And out of all of the stuff in the final fight, that's probably some of my favourite bits. That and the Okoye bit with Killmonger. Overall, the plot of this film is really good. Like I say, it's very much about T'Challa trying to decide what kind of king he's going to be. And what I do like, actually, and what I do appreciate, the one really good thing I really like about how they do end the villains in this, is that some of the villain's message actually gets through to T'Challa at the end, and he incorporates it into his look. Yeah, we are going to take Wakanda and help the world, but we're not going to help the world by like selling them guns. We're going to help the world by introducing our technology and helping the needy. And I do really like that. So in a sense, the villain kind of wins a little bit in this film. So that is a nice little touch. Overall, the styling and everything of this film is really good. The designs are really good. Wakanda looks beautiful. I really like the designs. I really like the tradition mixed in with like the modern. All of the costumes look great. The music's really good in this film. I like how, again, it blends traditional with modern. I like how when T'Challa's king, we get a lot more traditional music. When Killmonger becomes king, it goes a little bit more modern. Sometimes I do feel like the Black Panther theme is a little bit overused. Sometimes it's just like used in a scene, it bursts out really loudly. Like really like suddenly like dun 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 dun, and then suddenly it's gone. But yeah, for the most part, the music is really good. Also, just quickly want to, while I'm talking about tradition and everything, touch on the King's fights. There are two really good action scenes where we get to see T'Challa stripped of his power, and then he does the one-on-one fights, one with M'Barko and one with Killmonger. They're really good. One little thing with the first one where he's fighting with M'Barko, I'm like, you see all like the people in the waterfall, and they're all standing there and they're all dancing and cheering on T'Challa and stuff, and I'm like, one, how them people get up there? Two, man, that looks dangerous, you know. 5 minutes before, this thing was a waterfall. Them rocks must be so slippy to be up there dancing around and stuff. It's just a really small thing, but it really bugs me every time I watch it. So overall, how would I rate Black Panther? I gotta be honest, it's not one of my favourites. It's definitely a good film, definitely a very important film in the MCU, and does bring a lot of lore and stuff to the universe. But for me, overall, I'm probably gonna give Black Panther a purple tier. I just feel like it's definitely stronger at the beginning more than it is at the end. At the beginning, it kind of feels a little bit more like a spy film, you know? You've got that kind of Q-like scene where he's going through all of his gadgets. You get the casino scene, which definitely feels very James Bond, and the car chase scene. And then after that, it kind of becomes a little bit more of like just a generic battle kind of superhero film. I much more enjoy the kind of spy elements that you get at the beginning. But overall, great characters. Great lore setup, Wakanda looks beautiful. It doesn't make sense when you really think about it, at how Wakanda would actually exist. You know, apparently they have no aid, no trade. Well, you're telling me they have no trade at all, and they're completely sustainable on their own? Okay, they have all of the vibranium, but where they get all their other stuff from? It's not like it's a big country, you know, it's pretty much just one city. How on earth does it deal with its population control, you know? The better the quality of life, surely the higher the population goes. I mean, maybe there's some dark stuff in Wakanda that we're not touching upon, but it's like Ant-Man. You have to take that stuff and just throw it out the window and ignore it to really enjoy the film. Also, they have that big holographic like cloaking device that they cover the city in. And that must mess up the birds, right? Flying into their tree and then suddenly there's no trees. Smack straight into the side of a building. But yeah, good film. Definitely great characters. Definitely great villains. But they should not have killed them off. And that for me is the biggest letdown of this film. So let's just take the moment to remember all of the villains lost in the MCU.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
Hey, so thanks for watching. What did you think? Let me know about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed my video, maybe give it a like, and if you really liked it, why not subscribe? You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch. Oh, and here's a related video you might enjoy, and something more fresh. I've been Hegassen, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!